I stare at the crude engraving. The scratchings and the shape of a key marked into my mirror. I did not know where it had come from at first. I had just noticed it, and was studying it closely with curiosity and suspicion when my mom barged into my room, as she often does. My temper flares at once. I'll regret it later, but in the moment, I never have control. I shoot her an angry look, cutting her off before she has a chance to speak. "Why do you do this, Mom? Why do you do this? Seriously. You know that when my door is closed, I don't want to be disturbed. I must have told you 100 times. Look, Haruto," she begins, but I interrupt again. "Mom, please, just leave me alone." She stands there for a moment in silence, her expression mixed, but she does so, drawing the door shut behind her. "For Christ's sake," I mutter quietly before the door has a chance to close. It doesn't in the end. She leaves it open, just a crack. I love the woman, I really do, but she drives me mad sometimes. I repeat my words again, louder. "For Christ's sake!" And I march over to the door, slamming it shut with a thud that reverberates through the walls. To such an extent, in fact, that my mirror, freestanding and balanced against the wall as it is, tips and clangs awkwardly up against my wardrobe at an angle. And as it does so, the scratching of the key is left behind. I stare at it, not quite believing what I'm seeing. It must be a trick of the light and shadows, an illusion, surely. I walk back over to it, squatting and turning my head to the side, studying the mirror as my reflection stares back at me in confusion. But there's no doubt about it. The key is gone. And I start to question whether I actually saw the key at all. It's a fascinating thing, the mind. I was staring at these scratching mirror minutes, mere seconds ago, and already I'm trying to convince myself that it never even existed. I must have imagined it. It's the only possible, logical explanation. Until, that is, I grip the mirror's frame and pull it back to its original position. The key quickly reappears, a fixed point in space. Holy crap. I move the mirror from side to side. It's heavy, but I manage to lift it up a little too. No matter where I shift it or how I shake it, the scratching of the key remains in the exact same position, in relation to my room, not the mirror. I set it down and I take a step back. I adjust my hearing aid, as I often do when I'm anxious. I'm not a huge fan of the thing, honestly, but you can get ones that are relatively discreet these days, and it allows me to actually hear, so, it's fine. I get up close to the mirror again, as close as I can, my fingertips smudging the glass, but that doesn't matter now. I trace them over the scratching, but I can't feel a thing. It's perfectly smooth, just like the rest of the surface. It's almost like the scratchings are made on the other side. I lock eyes with my reflection. I can see my chest subtly rising and falling with my breathing. I can see every little freckle across my face. I can see the hairs that have fallen across my forehead shine silver in the glow of my ceiling light. I watch my reflection, and my reflection watches back. And then it winks. My eyes go wide in horror as I stumble backwards, crashing to the floor on my elbows, staring with disbelief at my reflection in the mirror, heart pounding. "What the heck?" I say out loud, as my reflection speaks along with me. "What the? No! No, 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 no! It's impossible. It can't be. There's just no way." But I scramble back up to the mirror. I put my hand against the glass, and my reflection does the same. The sound of a violin, melodious and hauntingly beautiful, ripples through the air of my room on the back of a sourceless breeze, just at the edge of my hearing. I adjust the device to my ear as my fringe wavers with the disturbance, but it's no trick. I hear it playing, and I hear it true. Goosebumps shiver up my skin, and my reflection's eyes dart up to the key. Quick as a flash, and then he speaks. A ventriloquist whisper. His lips do not move, but I recognize the voice, of course, for it is mine. "Trace it, Haruto," he murmurs. "Trace the key." And I am compelled to do so. I press the tip of my finger at the top of the scratching of the impossible key, and I follow it around. I follow it all the way around and down as the violin plays and the wind rises. And once my finger has completed its journey and has returned to its original position, the resistance vanishes at once. My finger, and indeed my whole hand, pushes through the glass like water. I cry out in surprise, but the gravity in my room seems to change. Up and down lose meaning, and my bearings are lost as I feel myself tipped suddenly forward. My knees slide down against my carpet, and I fall. I fall headfirst through the shimmering glass and into the mirror, my shoulder bashing painfully against the frame on the way through. Distorted lights rush past my field of vision as a twisted tunnel. I call out to scream, but before the air can move from my lungs to my throat, it is forced out of me in a wheeze of distress as I slam down hard onto the ground. My wincing groan, rolling onto my side. I'm laying on my carpet. I appear to be, at least, but the floor is neither soft nor comfortable. It feels hard and cold, like polished wood. I lift my gaze, and where the carpet meets the walls at the edge of my room, it begins to break apart into little triangles, shimmering and reflecting the light in unique and curious ways. The triangles of the carpet merge with the triangles of the wall, and then they too give away. I move my head from side to side, and it is like I am looking at a 3D projection, a layered painting perhaps. Beyond the triangles of the wall, I could see glimpses of the world beyond, of the sky, of my neighbors' houses, little pieces of trees that should be completely obscured by the wall, but they all glitter and shine in their myriad of colors through the collection of broken and shimmering triangular shards that make up the edge of the world I now inhabit. "It's quite something, isn't it?" comes a voice from behind. I turn to look up at him, at my reflection. The little freckles on my left cheek are reflected on the right. His hair parts the other way. His hearing aid is affixed to his opposite ear. But it's me, all right. It couldn't be anyone else. He laughs at my face of disbelief. "You look like you've seen a ghost. It's not gonna hurt you, bro. Here." He reaches down and holds out his hand. Cautiously, I take it, and he pulls me back up to my feet. "Oh my god," I mutter, looking him over. "Wow, this is so freaking weird. What the heck is this place?" "This is the world beyond the glass, my friend," he replies with a grin, throwing out his hands and gesturing to the shimmering fractals of glass all around. Flashes of color interspersed with the glittering silvers and whites. "The opposite side. I know you've been kind of bummed out recently about Sakura. And hey, I just thought that a little venture into the mystical could give you a new perspective on things." Sakura, a girl from my class. She's hot as hell. And after 2 long years of grafting, this afternoon I finally worked up the courage to ask her out. And she cut me off with a no, just like that. She didn't even want to talk about it. Would it have killed her to let me know why? My reflection can perhaps see the frustration across my face. He clasps my shoulder. Hey Haruto, I feel it too, bro. I am you after all, remember? Now come on, follow me. He turns and heads towards a section of glass at the edge of my reflected room. It's so strange seeing everything that I'm familiar with flipped in such a way. And for the very objects themselves to break apart into these myriad polyhedrons all around the edges. Looking up and around, it's like being inside a kaleidoscope of glass. As my reflection reaches the edge, it begins to warp and bend and break away. He does not use the door to the room, reflected and distorted as it is. He walks right through the wall. It gives way and pulls back, and I follow him through a tunnel that forms in time to our steps. The mirror reflecting mirrors, creating the illusion of little, endless hallways, all around us, ever changing. So, what's it like, being a reflection? I ask him as we walk, our footsteps echoing around the sharp and shifting walls of the tunnel. Oh, it has its ups and downs. He chuckles over his shoulder. I don't have to deal with the pressures of the world quite like you do. But I still feel your pain. The shadow of your highs and your lows. I reply. Interesting. Here, he says, putting out a hand and drawing me to a stop. Look ahead. The tunnel gives way. It widens and widens, peeling back. The shards of mirror clattering back against and over themselves, casting little beams of light out and all around my field of vision. I step up beside my reflection and watch in awe, to reveal Sakura, sitting in what must be presumably her room, drying her hair in the mirror. Except it's not actually her. It's her reflection. She's holding the hairdryer in her left hand. Sakura is right-handed. Holy crap. My eyes go wide and I take another step forward. She's wearing skimpy pajamas. She must be getting ready for bed. I've never seen her like this. She doesn't seem to be aware of our presence. Can she? Can she see us? No, my reflection replies. Neither the reflection you see before you or her original self. You can see her through the mirror she's got standing on her desk, but she can't see you. Sure enough, the Sakura that I know from school is looking back at her reflection from beyond the mirror. My heart beats fast. I take a step closer, out and further into her room. How aware of me, of us, is she? I ask, my lips dry. Not at all. The reflection replies, crossing his arms. We might as well not exist. Sakura finishes drying her hair. She turns away from the mirror and her reflection walks across her room, turning off the main light and climbing into bed to read. I watch her hungrily. I walk right over to her. I stand by her bed. I'm so close to her that I can drink her in. I squat down right by her bedside, staring into her face. My pulse quickens. There are routes to all sorts of fantastical places. My reflection replies. There's a whole world to find out here, if you know how to look. Come on, I'll show you. Can I touch her? I murmur, watching Sakura's chest rise and fall with her breathing. She turns the page of her book with a soft rustle. You could, yes, but perhaps bringing you to Sakura first was a mistake. My reflection murmurs, and the walls glitter all around us. Come on, this is only the tip of the iceberg. There are still wonders beyond comprehension that I can show to you. I can sense my reflection's unease from behind me, but I don't care. This is too unique of an opportunity to miss. I can't let it pass me by. I just can't. Come on, bro, I reply. Don't be a buzzkill. You're trying to tell me that you've never even thought about it. You're my reflection, aren't you? My reflection says nothing. Sakura turns another page. And I squeeze her leg over the sheets, running my hand up the inside of her thigh. Or I try to at least. My hand connects with nothing. It passes right through her, and she breaks apart into a cascade of rippling shards of glass. Her bed goes with her, and then her desk and wardrobe, and the walls, and it all falls back, and I stumble away in alarm. What the heck? I swivel to stare at my reflection. I thought you said that I could touch her. His expression is cold. I lied, he says. And the walls begin to collapse like sheets of rain. He turns and strides away through the tunnel, and I cry out. I call after him. Reflection! Reflection! Haruto! I scream, staggering after him. But the floor is shifting beneath me, slowly sinking, giving way, breaking apart into those endless triangles, the shards of a cursed mirror. Haruto! I force my way back through the tunnel, the glass like ice against my skin, and the noise, it's a constant shattering, never ending, around it goes, around and around and around. When I finally make my way back into my reflected room, the tunnel has vanished completely behind me. Once again, it is like I am stuck inside of an enormous, disturbing, ever-changing and shifting and warping mirror ball, and my reflection is nowhere to be seen. Haruto! I shout, calling out my own name in a panic, looking all around for him. And there he is, stood with his hands behind his back, on the opposite side of the mirror, the original mirror, the one framed and freestanding against my wall, with the key carved into its surface. I sprint over to it. I try to push through, but I meet resistance. I cannot pass. The mirror will not let me through. Oh crap. Oh no, no! I slam my hands against the glass. You, how could you do this to me? What about the wonders? You said that you would show me wonders. Don't play with me, reflection. But he only stands and watches, dispassionately. A lone flicker of what? Of pity? Perhaps flashes across his face. I try to control my breathing. Okay, I'd messed up here. I shouldn't have tried to touch Sakura. That was wrong of me, I admit. But there's always room for a redemption arc. I cannot help a terrified laugh escaping from my lips. I adjust my hearing aid with a shaking hand. The hero learns from his mistakes. He rights his wrongs. That's how stories go. It's okay, I can do this. I can do this. Think, Haruto, think. Think. The key. My eyes defocus from the view beyond the mirror and refocus in on the key, scratched into its surface, scratched into the glass on my side. I press my finger against it, and I can feel the little bump of the lines in the glass. I grin with delight. This is it. This is my way out. And feverishly, I begin to quickly trace my finger around the key. At least, this is what I presume Haruto must be thinking. I do know him quite well, being his reflection after all. I watch as he mutters madly to himself. I watch as the beads of sweat appear across his skin as he desperately traces the key, with his finger on the other side of the glass. I take a step back and I squat down, carefully lifting up one of Haruto's dumbbell plates. I stand back up and balance it like a shot put on my shoulder. My eyes meet Haruto's and he slams against the surface. He screams at me, the noise from beyond coming through the glass as no more than whispers, and I hurl the disc at the mirror. It shatters at once upon impact, breaking apart into 100 pieces. The shards rain down into the carpet below, leaving only an empty frame and a dent in the wall in its wake. I cross my arm and watch the final pieces fall to the floor. I wonder idly if Haruto will ever work out which of the things I told him were lies and which were the truths. Haruto's mother, my mother, burst suddenly into the room. "Goodness," she says in alarm. "Haruto, what happened?" "I'm so sorry," I say at once, my voice rich with genuine apology and shame. I was just being dumb and I broke it. It was an accident. I'm so sorry." She seems a little taken aback. I think that she may have been expecting a different attitude. "Well, it's okay," she says after a moment. "Accidents happen. Just stay away while I grab the brush and I clean it up for you." No, I insist, gently easing past her and out into the hallway, turning left to head to the storage cupboard before chuckling, and realizing that I have to turn right. "I'll clean it up. It was my fault after all." I shoot her a smile and she gives me a bewildered one back. I doubt she'll ever notice that her son's hair now parts in the opposite direction, nor that the freckles on his left cheek now appear on the right, nor indeed that he wears his hearing aid in the opposite ear.